this. What am I doing now? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Holy jeez, I wanted to lick him.
Going outside, just like I like it.
It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My, oh, my. My. It's a pretty big fish to fry. It's a pretty big fish to fry. My, oh, my. Last weekend I barely thought I'd make it out alive. Told myself I'd take time and give the world a try. I wasn't alive. My, oh, my.
It is Wednesday, November the 22nd. It's the eve of Thanksgiving. You're checking out the premier sports and beer podcast with roots in New Jersey, but coming to you from multi-states tonight. It is Lowen Outside, lowenoutside.com. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time on your shortened week, your holiday. If you're watching along with Facebook Live, that means you are in the age demographic that we are, and you no longer go out the night before Thanksgiving. So we appreciate you taking that time. If you are not watching live and you're catching us on a replay, hopefully we're doing a little bit something for your hangover. So if you're interested in maybe putting something else in your body to recuperate from what you had, let's go ahead.
The greatest beer in all the world.
Somebody from the bar.
Yeah.
I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. I like cool beverage, yeah. Cause I'm feeling kind of parched. Stick it in the fridge, stick it
Tonight
in the
I am
fridge, stick it
drinking
in the fridge, stick
what
it
I
in
would
the fridge,
describe as,
stick it in the fridge, stick it in
in
the
my
fridge,
opinion,
stick it in
the
the
greatest beer in all the world. It is a Stone Zokoveza Imperial Stout inspired by Mexican hot chocolate. It checks in at 8.1% alcohol by volume. It's a nice stout. It was actually, as I was telling the story before we came on air tonight, it was a homebrew in 2014 that Stone holds a contest where they have a homebrew every year. And in 2014, Chris Banker submitted this recipe, and it's been so successful that every year Stone re-releases it as a holiday beer. So there's hope out there for you home brewers. So cheers. Happy Thanksgiving. My favorite beer. It's that time of year. Brett in Denville, New Jersey. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome to the show. What are you drinking?
Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. I asked you pre-show. I said, what do you think, man? I got two. I got hop gravy, and I got Thanksgiving. And you said, ooh, give me a little bit of that hop gravy.
Yeah, baby.
So I picked up Magnify's release yesterday. My son and I took a little car ride at 7 o'clock last night and shot on down to the brewery and picked up a 4-pack of hop gravy. Surprise, surprise, Magnify PA, double IPA, 8%. This one, truthfully, unfortunately, nothing special. Solid double IPA, great, standard from them, but doesn't stand out. They had a couple recently that really stood out to me, but this one, nothing crazy. But I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, maybe post show, have a post show beer, and
is the reason behind the name just because of the timing of the release, or
yes, they released them last night.
So there's not like giblets in it or anything like that.
No, there's no giblets. There's no little bits of stuffing or
that'd be delicious. I'm starving.
Whatever. So great beer though. Great beer. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Sean, are you in Chicago?
I sure am.
All right. Welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I think we could have a great debate, maybe not for this show, over the greatest beer you've ever had, because I think I'm currently having the greatest beer that I've ever had, which is a Coors Light.
It's good. It's good.
Cold Coors Light.
Silver bullet.
The mountains are blue.
The silver bullet.
And I lined up 3 of them for this show, so it could get interesting towards the end.
Nice. Are you staying? I'm assuming you're staying in Chi-Town then.
That's incorrect, Jeff. I'm flying to Connecticut tomorrow morning, very early. I have
So you
quite
are
a
not
list
one
of
of-
plans.
You're not one of the 50 million Americans traveling today. You will be traveling.
That is correct. It's a pro tip for those out there listening. Travel on the day. You will get a much lower fare, and you will not have to deal with all of the bullshit of the airport and everyone else doing it. So, pro tips.
So
Starting out the show.
You're flying out of O'Hare or no?
That's right.
And what's your flight number? Just real quickly.
Yeah, you want my social and blood type, Jeff?
No, but you're flying out of O'Hare. Where do you fly into when you go to Connecticut?
That is Bradley
Yeah, there.
International, BDL.
Is it a big airport? I've honestly never even heard of it because New York
It
area.
is not.
They don't bother flying out
It
anywhere
is not.
for Newark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. All right, good.
Who cares?
Here we go.
Who cares?
Well, so this is the traditional segment, but I felt in the spirit of Thanksgiving, perhaps we should rename the segment "We Care." What do you think? Think that's
Yeah, let's do it.
a good call for tonight? So we don't have a new soundbite because we're not that advanced, but we care. So
We care.
yes, every time you're done with the segment, you just have to say that. Okay. The butt fumble turns 5 years old tomorrow. Do we think that is the greatest self-inflicted gunshot wound of a replay ever?
Where has the time gone?
We were there.
That was the best part, is that we were there. I get so excited every time I see that, obviously, because it ended up in my favor. But
Of course, yeah.
it was so nice. I'll tell you what. If you remember that evening, like it wasn't cold out. Like it was a pretty nice night.
Yeah.
And it was Thanksgiving, and I can't believe it. Honestly, man, it feels like yesterday. It's just.
I actually thought it was longer ago because Sanchez has been out of the league
It's true.
for a good minute.
No, he was. I think he was on. I don't know that he's on a roster this year, but he was on the Cowboy roster last year.
Or irrelevant for
Yeah,
enough
but-
time.
That totally. But
Yeah, he was just a person. He was a meat sack that they dressed up in the Cowboys uniform
yeah.
and brought him
Yeah.
out.
Practice squad.
Yeah.
That was we were there, and you were sitting with us to.
No, I bought a solo ticket,
I thought so. I thought
and I sat on the other side of the stadium.
A
that.
solo ticket's a bold move.
Well,
Yeah.
we were going, so he knew he had a ride there and home, but like that game got so ugly so fast that butt fumble was just like the cherry on top, and I just looked at my brother. I'm like, we gotta go.
Yes, I had to leave the game at halftime. Like,
We gotta go. So I call Brad. Like, listen, like if you want to hang, you can find your way back, but I'm not staying for the rest of this. This is slop.
we got home.
How did
I
that?
remember,
Go ahead.
I remember turning on the TV. It's like 47-0 in the fourth quarter. Like,
It's terrible.
okay, I made it home in time though.
And that was
How
not
did that?
down like
How did that not be like, instead of we gotta go home? How is that not like we gotta not renew our season tickets?
We got to stop paying PSLs.
if you remember at the time, like that was supposed to be a tight game.
Yeah, well, I remember talking to you in the parking lot beforehand. First of all, we brought a garbage bag full of Coors Lights and ice. Okay,
I'm in.
So
Keep
shout
going.
out- shout
Keep
out to
going.
Sean, okay.
Sean's language.
You have my full attention.
Yeah. And I remember we're in the parking lot. You know, we just left Thanksgiving dinner and we're talking. And Jeff, I swear, the words out of your mouth you were like, I don't know, man. I think we got you tonight. I think we got you.
The last time I've ever said that, by the way.
But I kind of agreed. I remember being like, yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a tight game. Like it could go either way here.
There are a lot of Jet Patriot games that are tight and that could go either way. That
just went
one of them.
that just went bad quick. I mean, I think there were like punt returns for touchdowns or kickoff returns for touchdowns. It just seemed like every.
No, it was. I'll tell you exactly what happened. It was a like a return for a touchdown, the butt fumble, a touchdown, and then like a pick for a touchdown, like legitimately in like 3 minutes of game time.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I think Brady found Edelman down the seam for like an 80-yard touchdown, and there wasn't a Jet player in sight.
It was bad.
For some reason, Edelman was just open down the sideline. Yeah, that was a great game. Great game.
Yeah, it was awesome. So tomorrow, as you're watching your football coverage on Thanksgiving, be prepared to see the butt fumble over and over and over and over again.
We care.
We care.
Who cares?
LeVar Ball and President Trump's feud. we were on this podcast last week and just started to talk about it briefly. It's gotten more intense. I don't understand how it's gotten more intense, but Trump actually called him an ungrateful fool this morning at like 5:30 in the morning on Twitter.
Can you guys finally admit that I was right that LeVar Ball is the greatest marketer of all time? Like when the president of the United States is calling you a fool on Twitter at 5:30 in the morning, come on.
Hang on.
No.
Hang on.
No, I will never admit that. But the Cuomo interview was like one of the greatest moments of television I've ever seen. I'd thank President. He couldn't even pronounce the Chinese president's name because it was XI, and he was like G G Z. But it's like I think I should thank him. Like what?
These guys have got to be working together. They have to be working together.
Yeah,
I don't
we've said it
know.
from the start. We've said it from the start.
I don't know. I think he's that pompous, and I think he is.
Who, LeVar or Trump?
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I guess both.
Who are you
But
talking about there?
I don't know, man. It does keep getting better, and it's now at a point where it's like, okay, maybe I would like to see LeVar Ball again.
We care.
Who cares?
Ray Allen, did either of you catch this?
I did.
He was the latest victim of a catfishing. Apparently, there was some dude who posed as like either one woman or multiple women on social media. They talked and blah, blah, blah. They never met, but now that dude filed a lawsuit against Ray Allen for stalking him.
No.
Yeah, because that dude would post like, I guess Ray Allen's wife has like a store or
Restaurant, I
a
think,
restaurant, right? So that dude would go to the restaurant and post from inside the restaurant and tag himself or herself.
Yeah.
Him and this guy and Manti Te'o's girlfriend would go to the restaurant and
Her name's
post-
Lanai.
Yes, and post from there. And so and it's weird though. What a strange story. What a strange concept in general catfishing is. Because it's just like married dudes getting caught talking to women, but they kind of get off on like from the fact that they're talking to a woman, but actually it's a dude, so the dude should be in trouble for talking to the guy. It's a very weird scenario in general.
Do you think
Yeah.
Do you think that if you were single, I'm not asking this question to married men. If you were single, do you think you could sniff that out?
If I was famous or if I am me right now.
If you're
Oh,
you
good
right now, I
question.
can't imagine that there's any real reason to catfish you.
Right, because I can sniff it out so easy.
There's a whole entire fucking MTV show on this thing. What are you
Right.
talking
There was a movie. There was a documentary that
Yeah.
on that TV show.
All right, so
I don't think-
Brett as famous guy.
Yeah, okay. That's a better.
As famous guy, I don't know how well I could sniff it out. I would like to say yes. I would like to say no problem. but I don't know.
What do you think you'd be famous for?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Competitive eating.
Yeah, I take down Kobayashi in the July 4th hot dog eating contest,
And then you get catfished.
and then I get catfished.
Best
Like, oh shit, that guy from Nathan's. I gotta get him.
I can't believe that girl didn't want me. I won the hot dog eating contest.
It's July 5th, and all these chicks are reaching out.
You'd have a whole career resurgence when you do a competitive catfish eating contest.
Oh, now you're inceptioning it.
Go down to
Right?
knowledge.
Levels on levels here.
Have some deep fried catfish. Whatever.
We
I just-
care.
We don't care. I just don't understand. Like to your question, Sean. Like I feel like it's a special person that gets catfished. It's definitely a special person that is like the one that's catfishing, but the special person has to get catfished. Because if you're Ray Allen, like even if you're unhappy in your marriage, like you're Ray Allen, can't you just go out and like pick some girl up and like take her home? Like why are you trolling Instagram for some rando? I don't know. I don't
Jesus
know.
Shuttleworth here.
Yeah. Whatever.
Who cares?
We care. Baseball came down hard on the Braves. Brett, do you know anything more about this? Because it's like a bunch of language that I don't really understand as far as the international market.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? Is that it dealt with the international player pool, the international free agents. So there was a lot of like language involved. I know a little bit about it. I know their former GM got banned for life, which is a pretty harsh ban to put on somebody. I mean, who's the person that you think of when you hear that? That's Pete Rose, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think what Major League Baseball is trying to prevent here is so there's a massive free agent coming from Japan. Okay, Major League Baseball just agreed with the Players Union yesterday and the Japanese Baseball League on a posting system for this guy Otani. And Otani's supposed to be, they call him the Japanese Babe Ruth, and not Babe Ruth in the fact that he's going to hit 714 home runs in the major leagues. Babe Ruth in the fact that he is supposed to be a very good pitcher and a very good hitter. So there's a posting system when there's international free agents, especially those from Japan. And I think what Major League Baseball is trying to prevent here is the fact that they didn't want a GM. Let's take Brian Cashman for this example, saying to Otani, okay, under the current system, we will sign you for a max minor league contract, which is nothing. And then 3 months into that contract, we will negotiate with you a $150 million contract extension in May, and you'll sign it then. And the Braves were kind of doing some similar stuff to that, for lack of a better phrase, in their minor league system, and they got exposed. And so here we are. And I understand Rob Manfred's position on this from a baseball perspective. This was a very difficult process with Otani right now. And, we saw it. Tanaka was another guy that went through the posting system.
But
And
I feel like it was Tanaka and who was the moron for the Red Sox, the Japanese pitcher that was
Matsusaka.
Yeah, like I feel like both of those guys signed like much bigger contracts than what they're talking.
Yeah,
about.
the Major League Baseball redid their international free agent policy a couple years ago, right after Tanaka.
Okay, so
but there's also a system in place that if Otani, he's 23,
23, I think.
yeah. If he had waited 2 more years, he could come over like a regular free agent. Like he could get an 8-year, $200 million deal.
And there would be no posting.
And there is a posting. There is you give the Nippon Ham Eaters $20 million, but there's no restriction
That's not
on
their team. Come on.
I actually think it is. I'm kind of making that up, but I actually think it is.
Ham
No,
eaters?
Yeah, no, they're the soybeans.
I'm actually, while we're talking,
You are echoing a little bit, by the way, Sean, on the back end there. I don't know where that came from. But
ham fighters. Okay.
yeah, no, it's much
So
better.
they're the fighters,
But-
just so you know.
So you're telling me now that they can't sign this, like whoever signs this guy
Yeah.
Ohtani.
Yeah.
They can't then turn around 6 months later and give him a new deal.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
against the rules.
It's against the rules.
And they sign him to like a 1-year deal.
Yes, right, which is really good for teams like the Yankees because it's really low financial risk, high reward. And the Yankees have a lot of money right now. They're under the cap, so they can actually spend. And they're not going to plan to spend until next offseason with Bryce Harper and Manny Machado and Clayton Kershaw and et cetera, et cetera.
So you think they're going to have the 1-year deal with this guy?
I think so, in my opinion, I think New York has the best odds right now for this
They
guy.
have the most money to pay him, right? In that 1 year.
No, they do not. They actually have $35,000 less than the Texas Rangers.
Shit, then let's.
But the news about that is $35,000. This is a guy who's willing to not play for 2 extra years and come over for $200 million. So money is not the most motivating factor for him. So
the bottom line is the Braves got caught doing shit.
Yep.
No good.
Yeah. No bueno.
Okay.
We care.
We care. Sort of.
Who cares?
Sean, this one's your wheelhouse. Chip Kelly apparently is coming back to college football. Is he going to Florida or is he going to UCLA?
This has been an ongoing question for a really long time, ever since the 49ers stuff. And I feel like he's just a West Coast guy. I feel like the UCLA. Yeah. It'll come down to money. I think both conferences are good for him in that, it's not like no one spreads it out in the SEC, but just for West Coast feel and the other teams in the Pac-12, I would think that he would stay there. But honestly, there's a bunch of different places. The carousel is going to happen. I wouldn't necessarily just put it on those two.
Okay. Well, I mean, I only said that because that's what they were reporting, that it's going to come down to those two. So you think there might be somebody else that pops in?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to be looking for the best option. A lot of times what you see, and no different than I think we've talked about this before, like if a team struggles on offense, they're going to look for an offensive-minded guy. If a team struggles on defense, they're going to look for a defensive-minded guy. So that may just be kind of how it works. I actually thought UCLA's offense isn't as big of a problem as its defense. So it could go either way, I guess. Their defense is fucking awful.
And you have here Gruden, the rumors of Gruden to Tennessee. I'm assuming that's not John Gruden. That's what, Jay Gruden? That's who's Gruden?
Oh,
I didn't put that in.
That's the groomers of John Gruden.
The groomers?
Yeah.
You do have the word groomers written here.
I do. They're groomers. What do you want? I don't know what you want.
You're hearing John Gruden's going to go to Tennessee? That's
what I'm hearing.
Like the Vol.
If I'm John Gruden, I don't know why I would ever do that. He would make as much money as he's making right now on ESPN, work probably 85% less than he would have to do to head coach a team. And he works 15 weeks.
To Tennessee that I don't know.
What's that?
Does he have a tie to Tennessee that I don't know about?
Not that I remember.
I don't think so. Just the fact that they could have a vacancy. And Nico, sorry.
But he could legitimately.
They will have a vacancy.
Yeah.
Legitimately get like almost any vacant NFL job too. Like, why would he take? Like, it's a strange fit for him to go into college and do stuff that he hasn't done. And
I can't confirm or deny. All I'm saying is I heard groomers.
You did hear groomers. Well, you know what? We care.
Who cares?
Darrelle Revis signed today.
Is it Daryl or?
I think I can help in the whole Daryl.
What would you say it is?
Daryl.
No.
Who cares?
He's a chief.
Yeah, that's gonna go well.
End of story. He'll be the third cornerback there. Joe Morgan, I think it was today or yesterday, he came out and he wrote a letter to the baseball writers.
How amazing are people that write letters? Who does that?
You know who I bet writes letters?
Who?
Tom Brady.
Peyton Manning.
I bet you they both write letters on stationery that has like their name on the top.
But wait, can we talk about that seriously? Like, do you think Joe Morgan sat down like at the kitchen table, like took out a pen, a piece of loose leaf, and like wrote a letter and then like folded it, put it in an envelope, licked it, stamp, mailbox, and then the Hall of Fame people were like, "Oh, appears we have a letter."
Yes.
then-
I'd rather talk about what Tom Brady's stationery looks like. Do you think it actually just says Thomas Brady on it, or do you think it's just number 12?
TB12.
Yeah, I think so.
TB.
Do you think it's like dried out kale that he writes on? Like, do you think like
I'm sure it's some type of refined hemp. that, you know,
papyrus?
Yeah,
He definitely writes with a quail pen, no doubt.
100%.
I think it's a quill.
Yes.
Whatever.
With,
What I say,
But you know, quail, that's a bird. But okay.
with artificially dyed tears of Jets fans. That's the ink that he writes in. Scumbag.
We care. Anyway, he doesn't. Let's get to the topic though.
Joe Morgan, he asked the voters to keep PED users out of the Hall of Fame. He suggests players who have admitted to using were in the Mitchell report or those who tested positive on an actual failed drug test should not be in the Hall of Fame. Look, he was obviously, he's got ties to the guy that they won't let in, right? I mean, he and Rose have
Big Red Machine.
the Big Red Machine tie. Is he wrong?
Yes.
He is.
It's a whole era of baseball.
So you let them all in.
Jeff, we've been to the Hall of Fame,
Yeah, we have.
right? Those guys' names, Barry Bonds.
Really
Mark
hungover there though. By the
Yeah,
way,
but those names are all over the museum.
Pete Rose was everywhere.
Those beat. The only place they're not in is one little area with people's plaques. That's it.
To be fair, was probably the room that we spent the least amount of time in.
Oh,
Right?
you think so? I feel like I studied those plaques pretty hard.
Yeah, but like the other stuff was like there was like there was like video.
Yeah, it was super cool. I love the Hall of Fame.
We definitely spent more time walking around the rest of the Hall of Fame than we did in that last room.
Yeah, because it's a Hall of Fame and baseball museum.
Yeah.
Right. So the whole thing's a museum.
I just think it's hysterical that this museum profits off of all these guys, and they're like, no, they're not in the Hall of Fame. Like bullshit. Pete Rose is all over the Hall of Fame.
Right. Like they're there. So what are you doing? Just not giving them a plaque in the room?
Yeah.
I'm fine with creating caveats or asterisks. However you want to categorize the people that went through that era, that
The
have been-
PED Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't give a shit, but put them there. Like, am I going to be the one sitting here lying to you that I didn't love watching Barry Bonds launch 475-foot home runs into McCovey Cove in San Francisco? That shit was amazing. Like, so, in 1998, Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire like single-handedly reignited my love for baseball. So, I don't know what to tell you. Those guys are part of baseball history, and they put up some numbers that were astronomical. Now, did they do that?
It was totally artificially. I
A
mean,
little suspect? Yeah, they did.
no, I don't think there's a question about it that it was suspect.
But you know what? Like, they did what they did, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
You'd put it.
I'm sorry, Joe Morgan, but there wouldn't be an induction ceremony for like 10 years.
Yeah, there wouldn't be an
There
induction ceremony. for
wouldn't
10
be an
years.
induction ceremony.
And that's the issue we get high and mighty about was like steroids. Not to mention the fact that like people couldn't play against black people for like 100 years, but we're all cool with just letting the white guys. Like it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And Joe Morgan of all people, whatever. He was a great player. He really was deserved Hall of Fame. But he doesn't know what he's talking about in this type of issue.
I've said this before on this show. I think all sports should allow PEDs, and it would be the greatest entertainment ever.
Yeah, it'd be like robots versus wrestlers. I mean,
Like wrestling.
It'd be great.
I agree. Let them do whatever the hell they want.
Fuck it.
That's the ultimate. Who cares? Like you want to inject yourself with all this shit, and fine, do it. I'm game. Doesn't matter to me. But is there any kind of hypocrisy involved at all that he's Big Red Machine guy and he's telling that these guys with the PED shouldn't be there? But
No, in his defense, there's not. He made it on his own merits, and he's a good enough player to be a Hall of Famer.
so he shouldn't have the tie to Rose.
But it's not his fault. He's on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Joe Morgan's fault. And I don't think his ties to Rose or not to Rose, it matters in this situation. It's more of him being stupid in this case and not progressive.
Is it old man get off my lawn?
Yes, it's yelling at clouds.
Okay. I guess that's fair. I don't know.
We care.
We do care. We do care. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We care.
Who cares?
College football. The top 4 are out. Miami has jumped to 2, which is what I was calling for the last 2 weeks. So I'm glad the committee took a listen to our show and clearly followed my advice. Condoleezza Rice, big time listener of the Low and Outside podcast. She texted me before. She was like, "You right?" I was like, "I know, Connie." Well, that's what I call her. I mean, we're tight like that. Sean, everybody controls their own destiny at this point, right?
Yeah.
So, how do you see it breaking out? I mean, the thing that I was thinking about today is, we had talked weeks ago about how like the top 4 that they originally rolled out, it was almost going to be impossible for those 4 to be it. Now Notre Dame is definitely out. They're not going to be there.
No chance.
But there is definitely a scenario where you could have Miami and Clemson both in the playoff, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it's that age-old question of like, 1 versus 2, you lost. Like, how do you move them far down the path? So this is 2 versus 3. I mean, I would have a hard time if
Wisconsin.
Well, no, I'm just thinking if Clemson loses, like I don't know if that'd be a harder one for me. But if Clemson wins, I think if Clemson wins, that is totally a possibility, depending on what happens with a few other scenarios. Probably more specifically Wisconsin, which is going to be a tough conversation in a few weeks.
Well, that's the thing. Like if the ACC title game comes down to Clemson and Miami, and Clemson beats Miami, but Miami's that's their only loss, and then Wisconsin ends up taking a loss, that's where the conversation comes in. It's do you keep Clemson in, obviously, but if Miami's only loss is to the team that is also in the playoff, do they take that 4 spot? I don't know.
Yeah, well, you got to also think about it too. Then in that situation, you have Ohio State beating Wisconsin, who's a Big Ten champ, right? Also a 2-loss team. That could be a big argument too. I'd say that their losses are worse.
Ohio State plays who this week? They play Michigan this week. Is that right? So I mean, if that could wash that out too. If Michigan waxes them,
sure. I don't necessarily see
Michigan's
that
not going to wax them. No,
I don't see that happening. But that's another part of the dilemma. This is why this part's so much fun, and like, you really don't know. And I love that it comes down to conference championships.
So I've been the advocate for there should be more teams in the playoff. Do you think that what's going on now is the counter argument to that, or do you think it speaks to that? From your perspective, I mean, obviously there's no right answer, but from your perspective, do you think that what's going on now, where the conference championships are the biggest part of it right now, that's why 4 teams makes more sense?
Well, there's 5 major conferences, so I don't know I don't know if it coming down to conference championships. I think this year has just been funky in that, like, I'm not as confident about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Right.
Like in the past,
especially
there's
in
been
that
a
order.
really good case for 5 and 6.
Right. Especially in that order. Like there's no, like, number 8 could be better than number 5, and we don't really even know.
Oh, for sure. You're looking at Auburn at 6.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't know. Like they have a loss to, what was it? LSU? I'm losing my mind here, but
yes,
like,
yes.
But like, if they beat Alabama, are they the number 4 team in the country? I don't know how to answer that.
They're just not.
But on paper, if you're looking at, so one of the other scenarios that I wanted to bring up was, like, I was trying to rack my brain today about like how Alabama could potentially be out. And that's a crazy thing to think about. But if we continue that conversation, You have Auburn. Auburn beats Alabama, goes on and wins an SEC championship. Are you gonna leave an SEC champ out who beat Alabama?
Right. So then let's just break that out a little bit more. So then they would have in theory, they beat Georgia, right, in the SEC title game.
Yep, and Alabama.
But then Georgia would have 2 losses as well, and Alabama would have the L to Auburn,
But only one L.
but
Right.
they would Auburn who'd be the SEC champion. So okay, so you're definitely putting Auburn in, I would imagine, at that point.
Why?
right?
Why? I got to stop you guys. Why?
So I just from the past few years, I think it's not necessarily my opinion, but the committee has put a large ranking, like they really hammer down on being a conference champ. That's what's fucked the Big 12 many times.
Yeah.
And because they didn't have a champ game. So if Auburn can prove itself out through that is a gauntlet, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying that if they win those games, like that's a great job on Auburn's behalf if they do that. But I just don't understand. I can think of teams off the top of my head, 4 teams off the top of my head that should be there before Auburn. Who cares if they won the conference championship?
Well, no, okay, but it would be because of also beating Alabama.
Good,
And Georgia.
good for them. Alabama should lose a game. Like how many times?
The point is, if any team goes in right now and beats Alabama and then beats Georgia, it's a difficult argument to make that they're not one of the top 4 teams in the country.
Right.
Yeah, I
So-
do understand.
So continue that out, like in the idea of Alabama potentially not being in, right? They're a 1 now. They'd be a 1-loss team if they lost to Auburn, not a SEC champ. Wisconsin wins out, Big Ten champ. Oklahoma wins out, Big Ten champ. Miami wins out, ACC champ. How do you look at Miami, Wisconsin, both undefeated, and Oklahoma as a Big 12 really good team?
1-loss team.
Really good 1-loss team. So now you're getting into the conversation of a battle of 1-loss teams.
And
Is
Auburn's still sitting there
Alabama-
with 2 losses.
And Auburn's there with 2 losses, but an SEC champion who beat
and a head-to-head,
Alabama.
right? And a head-to-head win.
So like
I don't know.
that's a
man.
realistic possibility.
It's a tough one.
I think the bigger is UCF is still sitting there undefeated.
True.
But that's a strength of schedule.
No, I know.
That's different. But like that's what's crazy about this time in college football of like you can drive yourself nuts doing the what ifs.
Yeah.
But like it's so much like rivalry week is so much fun for this exact reason of like who knows, Clemson could lose to South Carolina.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they could. They're not going to, but they could.
They've had some tight ones. South Carolina's not as bad as people think, but like there's a few of those. Like again, like so if Ohio State beats Michigan and then beats Wisconsin, like are they a deserving team as a Big Ten champ? I don't know.
Yeah. See that to me, everything you're saying, that to me screams that there needs to be more than 4. Because
I don't see the quality in the others. I think it's always going to be debate about who's on the outside.
Who's out?
but that doesn't matter. Like let's look at the analogy of the NFL playoffs, right? There've been years where the wild card team that has not had a dominant year like some of the top dogs has totally run the table when they got in the playoffs, and then they ended up being the best team at that time of the year.
Right.
And we acknowledge that as they were the best team in football that year. So
They were the 9-7 Giants in 2001, the best team in the NFL that won the Super Bowl.
apparently they beat.
Yeah, apparently.
They
If you had to pick 4 teams that year, I imagine you're suggesting that the Giants would not be in that conversation.
Right.
and then they would have, everything that they did
Because
would-
they didn't deserve to be.
Yeah, because they didn't deserve to be, but there they are, Super Bowl champions. It doesn't end.
I think
Listen,
I think my point isn't do they deserve to be a top 4 team? I think my point is is it more fair to include more than 4 teams to determine who that best team in any sport is? You know, there's no sport in anything that we do where they just put 4 teams in at the end of a year and they're like, all right, you guys are the best, figure it out. Like that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Well,
Well,
be fair.
there's-
Put 4 teams in and then make them wait 35 days and then play.
the other thing is there's 100 plus Division I college football teams.
I get that.
So
There's
no, but like to your
100
point,
plus
Jeff,
college
I'm
basketball
I'm
teams
gonna
too.
give
They don't
yeah.
play. They don't just go, okay, Duke, Carolina, Michigan State, and Kansas. You guys
You go.
Like that. They just would never do that.
I know I'm supporting your argument with the fact that like they just don't play a ton of out of conference or enough out of conference stuff to be able to say like definitively
Yeah, I agree with you.
5, 6, 7, 8, like you guys don't deserve to be here because you've only played within your conference and one game outside of that.
No, I get that. I just look. I'm never going to disagree with the premise that more teams are better. I just think that if you figured out a way to have the top 10 involved at the end of the year, and added one or 2 weeks to the time between when the regular season ends and the bowls, I think football would rule the country. Like you would knock the NFL's Saturday bullshit out, and you'd play the college games on Saturday, and you'd put the the other stuff on Sunday, the NFL on Sunday. I think it would make sense. That's just me. I'd rather definitely see what Auburn can do. I'd rather definitely see what
Georgia can do.
Georgia can do. I mean, like these are teams that like Georgia has one loss. You know what I mean? Like and
even though it won't happen, but Wisconsin's outside the top 4 right now. You'd love to see what Wisconsin can do.
Right.
Like give these guys the shot. And I get it.
Yeah, so that's another good what if, right? Like Wisconsin wins a Big Ten championship. Clemson beats Miami, and both Alabama and Oklahoma win their respective conferences. You've got an undefeated Wisconsin sitting on the outside. What do you do?
Yeah, you gotta drop somebody out. I
imagine one of the one-loss team gets out of there, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's such a logjam. They're in the blender.
Shout out Vicky.
They are in the blender.
It's fun, man. This weekend's gonna be a lot of fun. Definitely tune into the games. Although,
it's gonna be a lot of fun because you're gonna be front row Iron Bowl, right?
Let's talk about that. So the Iron Bowl, right? Big time game. Probably one of the biggest games that happens any year in college football, right? So
yeah,
you're definitely going to be glued to the TV for that, right?
Well, I would say as far as days of the year go, this is definitely top 3 for me.
For you, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun, right?
Yeah, I have a little bit of a predicament. And it doesn't only affect the Iron Bowl, Jeff. It affects the Ohio State-Michigan game. You're familiar, I'm a Ohio State fan, correct?
I am familiar, but you did say you didn't watch some games this year, so that really can't affect you if you don't watch this one too. I mean,
yeah, but it's different. You throw the records out on rivalry week any given Saturday. But my wife has a friend who decided to book her wedding on Saturday, and it's not a late wedding either. It starts at 2.
Oh, good.
All right, so good.
So I'll probably catch about a half of football.
Right, that's good, right?
And then the reception squarely centered around the Alabama Auburn. Nope. I'll be sitting down. I'll be eating probably some overcooked chicken, and I won't be watching that game. I'll tell you. I asked 2 questions to Sarah. I said, 1, does the church have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Because Sean downloaded YouTube TV and plans to be streaming from the back while Sarah's up front standing for her friend.
Oh, she's in the wedding? Oh, that's awful.
She's in the wedding.
Oh, this is so much worse. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Sean solo, YouTube TV, back of the church for the back end of the Ohio State-Michigan game. And then a question.
What would we do?
Yeah, well, I guess what would you do? I mean, clearly the gift will be compromised for this, for what this person's doing to me, right?
Oh yeah, this check goes down by 20%.
First of all, stop with the nonsense, Matisek. You've been married for how long, Sean?
6.5 years.
Okay, so you've been married long enough to know that anything that you say as far as that gift for when the wife's in the wedding, you're not even gonna be involved in the writing of the card or the check. So let's stop with that nonsense right there. That's gonna come squarely from Sarah's head right there, right?
Fair. we can continue to discuss YouTube TV from the church. Though.
Right. No,
Because I will be out of sight for that one.
Yeah. What would I do?
I yelped the wedding venue to see if they had a bar with TVs in it.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. And then you have your phone and you can put it right on the table.
But they don't, right? You said?
I dug through quite a few photos and have not found one yet. So I went on their Facebook page. I went on Yelp. This is my life, man. It's fucking ripped right out from under me.
All right, so let's qualify this a little bit further, right? So your wife's in the wedding, so it's clearly one of her best friends.
Correct.
They live near you now, or are you traveling for it?
Connecticut.
Ooh.
Traveling from Chicago.
Hence why he's landing in Bradley.
So you don't spend a tremendous amount of time with these two folks.
That's correct.
So it's not like your boys with the groom.
Never met him.
So it's not like if you were like, "Yo, Frank, I'm gonna bring my iPad and my Apple TV, and we're just gonna sling to the TV that's over there." Like, that wouldn't exactly be a relationship that you have with the guy.
No. Sean's been taking a shit for the last 3 hours.
All right, but it's Connecticut, so it's a Northeast influence. It's probably
They don't care.
It's probably going to be a nice venue, but they don't really have televisions and bars and things like that in this part of the country for those types of wedding venues.
Not a wedding venue.
Right? It's strictly a wedding venue. Like, it's not like a restaurant or anything like that, right? It's just
To my knowledge, yeah.
What
would you guys do?
What would you do, Brett? First of all,
I pay for data.
You ever been in a situation like that?
I've been on some Sunday weddings in my life that have compromised my NFL time. So
like playoff time or like
that's different. Like, you're talking like
no, not playoff time.
You're
no,
talking like
time.
Second round of the playoffs here.
I can't imagine. I don't remember ever being in a situation socially where like my team was like I don't remember being in a wedding when the Yankees were in the World Series. But it's easy. I pay for data, so I lean my phone up against my wine glass on the table, and I watch unabashed, and I go, "Hey, this is who I am. This is who I am."
I'm just gonna say I'm working.
Yeah, I'm working. It's a perfect cover, man. It's literally your job.
First of all, if we don't get a picture of you watching the game with a Coors Light or Miller Coors product propped up right next to it at some point during that weekend, you're a failure.
Yeah, I heard it might be a cash bar too, which just put me on a different fucking level.
No.
I've changed my mind. I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
So it starts, and the reception starts at like 4. I'm gonna be done by 9 when all the games. It's not like, what am I gonna watch, a Pac-12 after dark game just to like make myself feel better?
You watch USC Washington State.
So
Apple Cup.
Oh, that could work.
Here's my honest take after hearing all of that come out of your mouth. Like, you're not the lone soldier here. Like, you're gonna show up to this event, and there's gonna be at least like 2 or 3 other dudes that are gonna be like, I can't believe I'm not able to watch any fucking college football today. Like, maybe they're not gonna be as into it as you are, but if you showed up there with some sort of iPad, like not just a phone, if you showed up there with some sort of iPad and propped it up in the corner of like the cocktail hour or the corner of the reception hall and just streaming it, like, suddenly you would start to draw a crowd. And so you have to decide, are you willing to be the guy that draws the crowd away from the chicken dance on the dance floor to watch the Iron Bowl?
While your wife's in the wedding.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to have my suit altered to fit an iPad pocket.
Sean, you got Clemson, South Carolina at 7:30. So that's, last dance-ish.
Yeah.
What time is the Iron Bowl?
Iron Bowl's early.
Yeah.
4?
Ohio State's always a noon game too.
What time is it? What time is the Iron Bowl? Do you know? Is it 4 o'clock?
I think it's at 3 o'clock.
It is 3:30. Yeah.
So yeah, you're gonna miss the entire thing unless you're
Yep, Notre Dame, Stanford at 8, and then you got Apple Cup at 8. Or you could just watch like Hawaii, BYU, Colorado, Utah, or Utah State Air Force.
What do you guys think about this? What if I ate something so terrible on Friday night?
Are you gonna get bad shellfish?
Shellfish.
Yeah, might have to go with the bad shellfish at the rehearsal dinner.
Yeah.
Either that puts me out of commission. I'll write the check, no problem. Sarah goes and has fun. I'll pick her up. And or I could just be like, oh my God, I have to take another shit. I can't believe this.
This is unbelievable. Sean, just here's all you have to do is find one dish at the rehearsal that Sarah like it didn't eat at all. And then just be like, oh, did you have the shrimp cocktail? I forgot you don't like the shrimp. Oh man, my stomach is just I'm in trouble. You know, but you gotta
it seems like one of those 24-hour bugs.
It's just a quick 24. You got to play that though. But my best advice is to start planning that the night up. Like after the rehearsal dinner, you guys are back at wherever you are, and just start playing it a little bit. Are you hot? Like it's hot in here. I just
set a vibrating alarm for like 2 a.m.
Yep.
And be like, oh.
You got to go with the Costanza factor too. Remember, it's not a lie if you believe it.
So that's my predicament, man. It's brutal, and it falls on again top 3 day annually for me.
That sucks, and
I'm on the fucking sidelines.
And it's at a
figuratively, not literally.
How many? Yeah, well, change of pace for you, because usually you are legitimately like hugging, saving
on the sidelines.
How many people will you know at the wedding? Like, will you have a group of people there that you can actually like spend time with, or no, that you're friendly with?
0.
All right, this is becoming
a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, this is an absolute no-brainer. Like, I don't even think you lie to your wife. I think you just look at her and be like, listen, like I'll show up and I'll be at the thing, and then like I'm just gonna bail for like an hour or 3.
Or like legitimately purposely get sick. You're in Connecticut. You're by the sea. Like, go get some shellfish and just eat it raw.
Or what if
be home Saturday?
We didn't talk about cigars.
What if you drank?
Maybe I get a long smoke.
Yeah.
Or just drank way too much at the rehearsal dinner and like make a scene and then just don't show up at the wedding.
These are all great solutions, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel armed.
Now it's on you, dude. Now we gave you the plan. You got to execute.
The best part will be like because I'm assuming that she's not going to listen to the show, but the best part is like if you do decide to go with one of these, and like it's totally a total fugazi lie, like you're not really sick, and then like 2 months later, like one of her friends is like, "Yo, I listened to Sean's podcast.
They were talking about bad shellfish.
How he was going to dodge the wedding, and like you just have to deal with that like 3 months down the line."
It's all right. He saw the Iron Bowl, so what difference?
Yeah, I would have no problem dealing with that.
That's a good point. I kind of like the "I have to work, baby" conversation. Damn, I just gotta work. Like this is my, this is how it goes.
I mean, fingers crossed. Sarah sits at a head table, and I'm like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
What you're describing, there's absolutely no alternative. She's absolutely going to be at a head table.
Which means I'm going to be sitting with the bride, streaming the Iron Bowl at her wedding.
Right. Wait, the only way that you can make this better is if like you get like legitimate like every 20-minute FaceTime updates from Yampo.
Which she wouldn't answer anyway.
And you just sit next to the bride and be like, "Oh, hold on, I have an update," and just go up to the bride every time you get an update on the Iron.
By the way, yeah, but we'll listen to this tomorrow and we'll start calling Sean on Saturday because you mentioned the times and everything. So he'll be calling.
Great. I'll give him my normal dodge.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you nothing but luck with that. That sucks.
Thanks, buddy.
I'd love to tell you that I've been in a situation where that has happened. I haven't. I do think, and not really knowing your wife too much, I do think that she would probably be one of the more understanding people if you were to stream the game during the wedding, right? Like, I don't think she would
absolutely
it, right.
I think she would like be probably like maybe a little embarrassed, but like I think she understands me.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think that she would be like, I can't believe you did that. Like, I think
And if you turn on the charm and you're just you to the people around you and they like you,
Yeah.
you're good.
Like,
you can
do you
watch
think this is
whatever
a
it is.
dance floor stream where I'm like really tearing it up, but I'm showing people what's going on?
like if you brought a selfie stick and we're just watching the game. No camera on at all. It's just the fucking football game.
The selfie stick move could be a good play.
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome.
gonna go over to Walgreens.
Be like, no, I'm just taking pictures.
Smile.
They have some awful hashtag, like hashtag I do. Like, shut up, stupid. I'm missing the Iron Bowl for you, you dolts.
And the Ohio, like, let's not forget about the Ohio State Michigan game.
Yeah, but you're gonna catch at least the first.
I'll catch a half of that.
I mean, that, you know.
Yeah, but who cares? You're catching the boring half, the first half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you know, could also be a blowout by then. You don't know. I don't know. That's
Well,
good
it's
luck.
good fodder.
Yeah, I wish you nothing but the best. Last bit of college football. Is it a joke that Baker Mayfield is not going to start the game? Like, I don't mean like is it an actual joke like haha and then he's going to start. I mean, like, is there really any kind of real, like, he grabbed his crotch at the Kansas players, right? Isn't that what happened? Isn't that why they told him he has to sit down? They stripped his captaincy from like the game or some stupid shit.
If this was a D3 game and there was no cameras, it would have never, no one would have ever known about it.
You're right. Paul Sperone definitely would have still been playing.
Yeah. He doesn't strike me as a guy who would do that.
Who would grab his crotch?
Yeah, after a great punt.
No, he would grab his knee after he tore his ACL. Sorry, Paul.
Which
Right.
one?
Both of them
Come on, hang on.
did
I
happen.
don't know. You're the Baker boy.
I'm hoping that it helps him fall to the second round.
That talent's not going to the second round.
I don't know, man. He's very short. You know, the scouts are down.
Scouts are down on Baker.
Scouts are down. You know, and he's got an attitude problem. The scouts are down.
He's going to the Cleveland Browns. He's going to be the next Johnny Manziel.
Oh, that's so disappointing. That might break my heart because I've declared on this podcast if the Jets don't draft him, my heart will be broken. But I'm going to have to, regardless of who it is, even if it's in division. I'm going to root. Part of me will root for whatever team this kid gets drafted to.
Can we state it here that you're going to have a Baker Mayfield jersey in April, but we just don't know what team it is?
If he's a
And
Jet, if he's a Jet, I will. It'll be the first thing I buy.
And if you don't, you have to drink a Mad Dog on air.
I still have it.
I'm sure you do.
Look at that right now. It hasn't really changed.
Sure you do.
It's here. I don't know. Whatever. I guess that's it for
We care.
college football. Yeah, we care.
Hang on, bartender. Give me one more of those scotch and Peptos. I got a case of squirts, but I still want to drink.
Last call for alcohol. So what you need? One bourbon, one scotch, one
All right. So last call as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday. Sean, do you have anything after that long-winded, horrible situation that you have to face? Anything that we didn't talk about tonight that maybe needs a little bit of love before we put it to bed?
No, college football is going to be winding down a little bit. College hoops going to be turning it up. Probably have some NHL coming down the pipeline pretty soon. That'll be good. Excited for the coming weeks here.
Yeah, it's a cool time for sports, right? And then you throw in the weird international baseball signings crap too. You kind of tie them into it too. Good stuff, Bubby.
Yeah. All right. So update for you guys, because last week on the show I chose a NCAA team, and I'm high on the U. So the U did well. They whooped up on Florida A&M.
Big time.
Yeah, the night the night after our show last week on Thursday night. So that was a lot of fun. And then I watched them tonight beat LaSalle 57-46. And then
Rolling.
JP, they're rolling. And then JP kind of turned me on a little bit to Minnesota. and Minnesota rolled last night, and Minnesota and Miami have a showdown a week from tonight. So here's what's happening. I'm following Miami and Minnesota for the next week. Going to watch their games. I'm investing on them. When they showdown next week, the winner of that has my undying allegiance from now until the NCAA tournament. So I'm excited. That's my update on Miami and Minnesota.
Like your Iron Bowl.
It is my Iron Bowl. It's my Iron Bowl a week from tonight. I'm super excited.
No wedding or anything that you got to go to there.
No, but I mean, does it not get any better than November college basketball?
It gets no better than November Miami and Minnesota college basketball. Just lights out. Better than that, the New York Knickerbockers are just absolutely dominating at home this year. Kristaps Porzingis is in the top 5 in points, and he's in the top 2 in, I think he was leading the league in blocks per game. The guy's turning into everything that we were hoping he would be, although tonight he's got a horrible shooting night. He's 4 for 11 with 12 points, but Timmy Hardaway Jr. With 31, Knicks are up 80-65 against the Raptors at home. They got waxed by the Raptors in Toronto a couple weeks ago, or last week.
Last week, yeah.
This team is turning out to be the upside that they possibly could, for whatever they possibly could be. They're hitting their peak. So we had talked about the over under. When they laid it out, I think they're definitely going to hit the over. I think they're probably a 40 to 45 win team. I see them getting into the playoffs and making absolutely no noise. A buddy of mine, Christian, asked on Facebook the other day, what move can they make? They're not at a point right now where they can make a move where they would be suddenly a contender because they want to wait and see things develop. But their front line looks really good, and they're a fun team to watch. So knowing full well that they're not going to do anything, they're finally a fun team to watch. Have you watched any of your Nets, Brett?
I have. I've been watching the Nets pretty frequently.
What's your take on them?
My take is Spencer Dinwiddie's their best player, and that's tough. That's really, that's a hard. A hard person to live with that's carrying your team. But I was very proud of them. 2 weeks ago they played the LeBrons and they beat the LeBrons in Brooklyn.
They're playing them tonight, right?
Yeah, they lost. They lost by 10. The LeBrons won 119-109. But I don't know, man. I don't. I can't expect too much out of them. They're 6-11 right now.
This is going to sound like I'm poking at you, and I'm not. Do they own their draft pick this year?
2018.
So they own
yes.
the draft pick.
So they own their draft pick.
So this would be a year if they did have a bad year that would benefit you as opposed to.
Yeah, I think so. I wish I could even answer that truthfully. I believe 2018 was the year they finally won their draft pick, but it might be 2019.
When Nick wakes up and rubs the alcohol out of his eyes from drinking the night before Thanksgiving, he can respond to that.
Yeah, he'll definitely let us know.
Last thing for me that I'm kind of angry we didn't put this in Who Cares. And Sean, you probably didn't hear this because you're not in the New York market, but Mike Francesa is wrapping up his stay here in New York. He's got probably about 2.5 weeks left, 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
And he took a call either yesterday or the day before where somebody asked him a question.
I believe 2 days ago.
Somebody asked him a question about managing the New York Yankees now that he was not going to have a job. And he answered the question so seriously, where he said,
would I like to manage it? Of course. Yeah, of course I would. Would they let me do it? No, they wouldn't let me do it.
They wouldn't call him.
Sports is, it's not that complicated. It's not that big of a deal. As long as you apply yourself, you figure it out. Okay.
So he legitimately thinks he could be the New York Yankees manager. I like every time I hear the action, like I've heard him say it, and it sounds almost identical to what I just said, and he's dead serious. So, am I missing something? Like, is that the direction that Cashman's going to head, Brett? Is he going to hire somebody that has no clue?
No, he'll look at Hensley Mullins. He'll look at Aaron Boone.
Who would be more equipped to manage the Yankees, Mike Francesa or
Aaron Boone,
or you, or you, Brett?
I All right, I'll say it. I'll record it, put it on wax. I would be a better choice than Mike Francesa.
That's how you can be famous. This is how you get catfished.
Yeah, this is it. So I'll tell you right now. And not that I don't, respect Mike Francesa, but Mike Francesa is a Monday morning quarterback. If
That's why you're a clown. Goodbye.
A Monday morning quarterback, and he's a clown. So I would be willing to stick to analytics. I'd be willing to listen to Brian Cashman. I would let the numbers dictate my decisions, and I don't think that's something that Francesa would do. So I'm a better manager than you, Francesa.
Oh,
What are you gonna do about it?
shots fired. Shots fired.
Do you think he's just keeping his options open? You're like, I don't know where I'm going.
I think he's just gonna cash in on a podcast.
The best is during his show today, he was talking about gambling, right? Like sports gambling.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how New Jersey this, New Jersey that, and Governor Christie, whose job is also about to come to a close, calls in. And he's like, yeah, we're real close. We're going to the Supreme Court.
They're going to Supreme Court in a couple weeks. The Supreme Court's going to hear the case.
Yeah. And so he's like,
Governor, what are you gonna do next? Yeah.
And Christie's like, well, I'm keeping my options open, but I think I'm going to go into the private sector and make some money. He's like,
all right, thanks for calling. Yeah.
Like, it's just totally dismissed. There's one fat ass dismissing another fat ass, just total two blowhards that have no place in freaking today's society.
I'll tell you what, we're going to be talking about that in a couple months.
4 months.
We're going to be talking about that gambling ruling, because I think that it is going to go in New Jersey's favor, and I think sports gambling as we know it is going to change soon. So
Yampo's going to move back.
Yeah. So
here's what we need.
That's my opinion on the matter, but
Well, he said today, Christie said that typically they'll push like important things like this off like a couple of months.
Yeah.
But if by some chance it does get passed through, and the casinos are able to take bets for the NCAA tournament this year, we need to do a live show from one of the new sports books in Atlantic City. For the
sure, if they can get it up and running in time, and we can get our new governor in state, and we can get legal weed too, so we can go down there.
Well, I'm not even touching that.
We can eat edibles and gamble on sports.
Different kind of podcast.
I'm just talking about the sports angle of it, but I think it would be cool to do a live show.
I just think it would be cool to talk about sports. No,
if it was a weed and sports podcast,
it'd be right
high and inside.
Hey-o! I like that was good.
That was a Johnny White, the white man. That
was a white man. Good job.
It's good. I like that.
No, that's going to be a big important decision. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Which one? The gambling one or the weed one?
The gambling one.
Oh, okay. Well, the weed one's next.
Yep.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you for checking in with us this evening or this morning or whenever the hell you're listening to us.
On your Thanksgiving, on the drive home, from your in-laws, and you're like, oh, sucks.
Or the drive to the in-laws.
Yeah, you got us.
I don't want to do this. Or the drive to a wedding where it cuts you off and you can use any kind of color.
Oh, I'm gonna miss the Iron Bowl.
We do appreciate everything you do. Have a great Thanksgiving. And we'll be back next week.
Desperandum, dear lady. Across the desert lies the promised land. Goodbye, Mrs. Gloom.
See ya.
Adieu. Auf Wiedersehen. Gesundheit. Farewell.
Fare thee well to you, my own true love. River Mercy, fare thee well. I am bound for California, a place that I know right well. So fare thee well, my own true love. When I return united we will be. It's not the leaving of Liverpool that's grieving me, but my darling, when I think of thee.